My wife Antoinette is a retired high school math teacher. Now, she hasn't always been a retired high school math teacher. Prior to this, she was a high school math teacher. And for the last few years, actually maybe the last 5 years while she was teaching, she was conflicted as to whether or not she should retire or not. She was working hard, harder than she had worked before. She was keeping up with the technology. She was keeping up with the changes in the school. She was not coasting into retirement by any stretch. But on the other hand, she said, when I retire, what will I do? How will I fill up my time? What will I do during the day? I don't want to be bored. I want to have something to do. I want to be productive. So I don't know if I should retire. So it was a conflict. And it was worse in the spring, because in the spring the administration wanted to know if she was coming back next year, obviously, because they had to make their scheduling plans and so forth. So there was one morning in April, one year, and she was particularly stressed that day because I think she had a meeting with somebody that day that she wasn't looking forward to. So it was just an added stress. And she was gathering her stuff to get out of the house in the morning. She says, I just don't know if I want to do this anymore. And then she left. So I had this idea for a song a couple of days prior to this anyway, but I hadn't really spent any time on it. I hadn't really thought about it. All I had was a couple of rhyming words and the hook. And but inspired by this increased stress, I guess, I just picked up the guitar that morning and I worked on this song all day. And it came together. And when she got home from school, I played it for her. She pointed out a couple of inaccuracies that I had. I made the changes, but ever since, the song has held up. So this song is for Antoinette, and I guess for any other high school math teachers that are out there listening. She's up early in the morning, correcting her calculus tests. Grabs something to eat, takes a shower, and she gets herself dressed. She'll be performing all day, she knows she has to look her best. Well, her Algebra 2 class begins at 20 to 8. So she's fighting through the traffic cause she knows that she can't be late. Kids shuffle in, barely looking like they're half awake. Well, equations and parabolas and calculators fill up her day. But she's on top of her game, she always knows what to say. And the kids really love her, and even some guidance counselors may. But those 40-minute periods really do fly by. She can't squeeze everything in, no matter how hard she tries. And the administration, well, they can't understand why. And there is all that new technology that she's had to learn how to use. She's got those 34 years as a high school math teacher blues. Well, there are conferences with parents, memos about curriculum, math department meetings galore. Oh, some days she's had it and she shouts, I can't take no more. Classes are over, there are still kids who need extra aid. Or parents on the phone wanting to argue a grade. They just can't understand the mistakes their little Susie has made. Well, she finally gets out, she heads her car for home. For the first time all day, her time is really her own. 35 minutes, she's sure glad to be alone. Then she gets home and she collapses in her chair and she kicks off her shoes. She's got those 34 years as a high school math teacher blues. Well, But if you think that she gets weekends off and real vacations, you're wrong. Oh, wherever we go, she's always taking her books along. Dinner is over, but her stupid day still isn't through. She's got more papers to grade and class preparations to do. Forms for guidance and a college recommendation or two. And she's so tired that she can't even stay up to watch the news. She's got those 34 years as a high school math teacher blues. Well, she's got so much to do, she's at the end of her wits. And her principal's really starting to give her fits. She says that after this year, she thinks she's gonna call it quits. Then she says, but I'm a teacher, what else would I do? She's got those 34 years as a high school math teacher blues. Oh, when she retires, imagine what that school will lose. She's got those 34 years as a high school math teacher. 34 years as a high school math teacher. The greatest high school math teacher ever. Blues. Now I have to tell you that when I wrote that song that April morning, it was 32 years as a high school math teacher. She hung in there for 2 more years, folks, but has never regretted retiring. Ever since she retired after 34 years, she loved it after the second day. And so I guess all's well that ends well.